Welcome to Daily Papers, the podcast where we break down fascinating new research into bite-sized conversations.
Today, we're looking at a topic that's on everyone's mind: artificial intelligence. Specifically, how AI tools like ChatGPT are changing the game for the people who build our digital world, software developers.
Exactly. We often hear that AI is a productivity tool, something that helps coders write code faster. But this paper, titled Beyond Code, the Multidimensional Impacts of Large Language Models and Software Development, asks a much bigger question. It goes, well, beyond the code.
It's a great title because that's the core idea. The researchers wanted to know if these tools do more than just help with the grunt work. They investigated three key areas. First, simple productivity, which is how much code a developer produces.
Second, they looked at something called knowledge sharing. This is the collaborative side of software development, how developers review each other's work, discuss problems, and share ideas. It's the teamwork aspect.
And third, they measured skill acquisition. In simple terms, are these AI tools actually helping developers learn new things, like picking up new programming languages? Are they acting like a tutor?
So that's a great set of questions, but how on earth do you measure that in the real world? This is where the study gets really clever.
Right. In March of 2023, the Italian government temporarily banned ChatGPT for 4 weeks over privacy concerns. Suddenly, an entire country of developers lost access to one of their most popular tools.
This created a perfect scientific setup. You have the developers in Italy, who the researchers call the treatment group because they were affected by the ban, and then you have developers in similar countries, in this case, France and Portugal, who could still use ChatGPT. They are the control group.
And by comparing the activity of the Italian developers before, during, and after the ban to the activity of developers in France and Portugal, you can isolate the true impact of losing ChatGPT. It's a research method called difference in differences, and it's a powerful way to see cause and effect.
To get the data, the researchers turned to GitHub. For anyone who isn't a coder, you can think of GitHub as a massive online workshop and social network for software developers. It's where they store their projects, collaborate with others, and where all of their work is publicly visible.
So the researchers could track everything. For productivity, they counted how many new projects were started and how much code was written. For knowledge sharing, they counted comments and reviews. And for skill acquisition, they tracked when a developer started using a new programming language for the very first time.
Okay, so the stage is set. Italy loses ChatGPT, the rest of Europe doesn't. What happened? Let's start with the most obvious question: productivity.
As you might expect, when Italian developers lost access to ChatGPT, their productivity dropped. The study found a decrease of 6.4%. It confirms that yes, developers are using these tools to write code more efficiently. Taking it away is like taking away a carpenter's power drill and handing them a manual screwdriver. Things just slow down.
Okay, that makes sense. But the paper is called Beyond Code. So what about the other more surprising effects? What happened to learning and collaboration?
This is where it gets really interesting. The researchers found that losing access to ChatGPT also slowed down learning. The rate at which developers picked up new programming languages fell by 8.4%. This suggests that ChatGPT isn't just a tool for doing the work, it's also a tool for learning how to do the work. It's like a 24/7 personal tutor.
That's a huge deal. But what about when they got it back? Did everything just snap back to normal?
Not quite. When the ban was lifted, something fascinating happened with knowledge sharing. The amount of collaboration, reviewing code, discussing issues, among Italian developers actually jumped up by 9.6% compared to before the ban.
Wait, so getting the AI tool back made them more collaborative? How does that work?
The theory is that using the AI frees up mental energy. If you're not spending all your time debugging a tricky piece of code, you have more capacity to help a teammate, offer feedback, or participate in a discussion. The AI handles some of the cognitive load, so developers can focus more on the human, collaborative parts of the job.
That's a fantastic insight. So it's not a simple story of AI good or AI bad. The effects are complex. And the paper digs even deeper, finding that the impact isn't the same for everyone. It depends on how experienced the developer is.
Exactly. They split developers into 3 groups: novice, intermediate, and advanced. For the novice developers, the beginners, the biggest hit was on productivity. When the ban happened, their output dropped by 15%. They were clearly relying on the tool to help them get basic tasks done.
What about the experts, the advanced developers?
They were mostly unfazed. Their productivity and learning didn't really change. They already have the deep expertise to work without an AI assistant. It's helpful, but not essential for them.
So the most interesting group must be the ones in the middle, the intermediate developers.
Absolutely. For them, the ban didn't hurt their productivity much, but it significantly hurt their ability to learn new skills. This group seems to use ChatGPT as a learning partner to level up their expertise. And they were the ones who, after the ban, became much more collaborative.
So, different people use the same tool in very different ways. Beginners use it as a crutch, intermediates use it as a tutor, and experts don't need it as much.
Precisely. And the study had one last finding. It looked at what kind of skills ChatGPT is best at teaching. They found that its value as a learning tool is highest for programming languages that are technically complex, rapidly evolving, or just don't have a lot of good, clear documentation online.
That makes perfect sense. It's like if you're learning a common language like Spanish, there are thousands of books, apps, and classes. But if you're trying to learn a rare, complex dialect with no textbook, having an AI that can explain things is a complete game changer.
And that's what they found. The learning of complex languages for web development or system programming took a huge hit during the ban, while more common, well-documented languages were less affected.
So, to sum it all up, this paper gives us a far richer picture of how AI is shaping software development. It's not just an automated code writer. It's an onboarding tool for novices, a personal tutor for intermediates, and a catalyst that frees up mental energy for more collaboration across the board.
It really does go beyond code. It shows how AI is reshaping the entire ecosystem of how software is built, not just by making individuals faster, but by making the entire community smarter and more connected. It's a fascinating glimpse into the real-world impact of AI, all thanks to a temporary ban in Italy.
And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to Daily Papers.